Hey, what's going on guys, Chris here, and I've spent a good few hours on Mad Max, enough time to come up with some honest opinions on it, and whether or not it's a good game to play, which I'll be going over in this video. So first of all, what actually is Mad Max? Well, if I was to describe it, it's kinda like if Batman Arkham Knight had a baby with rage, and then that baby went on to take a load of crack. It's completely mad, as the title suggests. Now, chances are you've probably seen or at least heard of the Mad Max franchise before. If not the originals, then at least the newer film Fury Road. Even though the game has come out on the same year as the film, there's no direct link between the two, and the game is its own thing. Though it's clear that there's similarities between the two, as they both share the same Mad Max universe and overall same themes. These days, post-apocalyptic video games are about as common as sunglasses are at a beach. They're pretty much everywhere, and the whole end of the world theme has been done time and time again. Mad Max is another one of these dystopian games. When the new movie Fury Road came out, it took everyone completely by surprise, and it turned out to be really good. But of course, does the game do the Mad Max series any justice? Well, I'll start off by saying that if you're someone who doesn't really like driving much in games, then this probably won't be a great choice, as you'll be spending more time behind the wheel than you will on foot. There's a big focus on driving and exploring the wasteland with your insane buddy that you meet near the start of the game called Chum Bucket. And you'll be driving around in your car called the Magnum Opus, which sort of even plays out as its own character. It's fully upgradable from the bigger, more obvious stuff like the engine, all the way down to the little details like the types of spikes on the wheels. You're not alone in the wasteland, as there's factions and other crazy people out to give you a hard time. Now, we haven't really seen any good car combat games for a while, so if you like to smash into other cars and watch them explode in a shower of fire and mechanical parts, then Mad Max might just satisfy your vehicle smashing needs, as there's a lot of that right here. It feels really awesome to do, and it does a good job in making you feel like you're actually causing some serious damage. You can also be a little bit experimental with how you take on your enemies. Firing your harpoon at a dude and watching him trail behind your car, only to have him fling into the distance, is pretty damn hilarious, especially the first time you do it. And that's just one way to take them out, as well as using flamethrowers, shotguns and other weapons too. As you play through the game, there's quite a few different side missions and things to catch your attention and divert you from the main story campaign, just like in most open world games. Oh, and I should mention that the map is huge, and it'll take you quite a while to see and do everything. So if you're a completionist, you're going to have your work cut out in this one. Of course, you'll also be on foot throughout the game, and you can get out of your car whenever you want and walk around. One of the times you'll be doing this is when you come across an enemy base to take over. The combat in the game is similar to the Batman Arkham games, though it's a little less forgiving and a lot more violent. You can't just keep spamming the counter attack button, as this will reset your hit streak. The combat is also a lot more punishing, and your health won't regenerate, making every hit that you take much more meaningful. And this makes you think more about timing your actions, rather than just mashing the buttons. Not only is the combat punishing, but it also feels really brutal and bloody. Every punch feels painful to watch, in a good way of course. And when you bring along a melee weapon to the fight, like a blade attached to a stick, you can inflict some serious pain on anyone unlucky enough to get in your way. Although the combat doesn't feel as fluid and responsive as in Batman, it's more realistic, and it forces you to time your punches and hits better, which I actually like quite a lot. Max also seems to like doing his fair share of wrestling moves to finish off his enemies, which is pretty fun to watch too. I do think the controls on foot can be a little bit annoying at times. Sometimes Max's movement don't feel as responsive as they could be, and it can be a bit frustrating to position Max near something you want to interact with, down to the controls sometimes being a little bit laggy. So even though a lot of the environments look barren and void from life, there's still quite a lot of things to do in Mad Max's vast world. Even though there's not a whole load of things going on in the desert, there's something really awe-inspiring at how simple the environments are, and yet they still draw you into them. I can see the whole sandy desert theme getting a little bit stale nearer to the end of the game, but out of the good few hours that I've played of it so far, I've found the world to be a different one to what we're used to seeing in other games. It's really open, and it gives you tons of room to zip around in your car. It might not be the most colourful game on the market, but it definitely ties into what the whole Mad Max franchise is, with its bleak and harsh tones. There's elements of survival in the game to help link this harshness into the gameplay. Health doesn't regenerate, and you'll need to find food and water to get your health back, even though you can carry water around with you. And there's a long drinking animation, so you can't just get all your health back, nice and easy in the middle of a chaotic brawl. Cars even need fuel, which need replenishing, and if you take damage on your car, it'll take a short amount of time to fix it back up. So overall, what do I think of the game? Well, from what I've played, I think it's something we haven't seen too much of before. or at least for a long while. Sure, the post-apocalyptic setting has been done quite a lot before, but I think that Mad Max does it quite well. Both the car combat and hand-to-hand combat really bring out the brutality and savageness of the Mad Max universe. Stealth is pretty much non-existent and goes completely out the window, and it's replaced with gung-ho, off-the-walls action and violence. There's also a lot of creative ways to essentially slaughter your enemies. It's barbaric, but it's also really fun. I can't exactly say that the story is any masterpiece to go off so far though. There's a few interesting characters, but it's nothing that special, so if you fancy yourself a well-written story, Mad Max probably won't be the best choice. Though the overall setting and tones of the game fit well with the franchise. I don't think that the game is a masterpiece, not at the moment anyway, and I do think that people with a shorter attention span might get a little bit bored of the wasteland environments, and sometimes repetitive side missions. But if you're a fan of the Mad Max series, or even the latest film for that matter, and you want some solid car combat, a ruthless, desolate world with plenty to do, or even just a good game to keep you busy for a while, then Mad Max could be a worthy purchase. Though if you're not completely set on spending your money on it whilst it's full price, maybe it might be worth waiting for it to drop down a bit. But it's definitely a game that's worth checking out at some point, even if you don't want to rush to the shop straight away and buy it. So guys, that's my take on Mad Max so far. I'm having fun with the game, and there's definitely plenty to satisfy if you're a fan of violence, third-person action adventure and exploration. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to give that like button a click on your way out. And to see more on Mad Max and loads of other games new and upcoming, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.